Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth. So you talked about the goal you have at the Center of Excellence, training young people, training students, bachelor students, and we actually have one on this panel who has done his thesis work at Karisoki and also interned with us before being hired as a research assistant. So Laban, my next question is to you. How do you think the new campus can provide improved learning opportunities for students in terms of research, education, and outreach? Laban, over to you.
Thank you very much for this good question. As many of you may know, the Dian Fossey International is highly dedicated to raising a strong generation of powerful African leaders in conservation. And as you have said, every year there are several hundreds of biology students who are trained at the Fossey Fund's Kayitete Research Center. And he was one of them, as you come to say. So this new campus is going to provide the advanced research and the educational tools. For example, as we will be having the large indoor and the outdoor classrooms, the experimental prods, the purpose-built labs, including molecular and the hormone labs, those ICT labs, the high-tech exhibits, and the accommodations for students on sites. All of these will help us as the Fossey Fund to increase the number of students who can be trained. And I think to also increase the scope of research topics that can be studied. And the research quality, because having those sophisticated research tools will help us to carry out some research that could not be easy before. And the most interestingly, I think that this is going to help the Fossey Fund to expand the collaboration with more Rwandan and the international universities. Yeah, that's the way I see that having this facility will promote the engagement of biology students in conservation. Thank you.
Thank you, Laban. And I would like to remind our audience, if you have any question, please add that to the chat box, and we will take time to answer your questions at the end of this panel discussion. Now, Joe Krista, I know the work that you have been doing at the campus, and I would like you to talk to us a little bit about how you think the landscape or architecture work on the campus will help conservation more broadly. Thank you, Joe Krista.
Yeah, thank you very much, Felix. It's a pleasure for me to be part of this panel, and yeah, I'd like to tell you how the landscape architecture of this project will impact the conservation more broadly. So if I start with the definition, I would say that the landscape architecture is the art of creating intentionally designed space that unite landscapes, people, and system for the well-being of all. So here at Fossey, we took One Health approach in the campus design. And this approach recognizes the link between human, animal, and environmental health. So we hope that by creating a healthy campus, which educate visitors about the value of the habitat of the gorilla population, we will expand conservation values and the impact. So we hope that this campus will become a home to future conservation leaders, as Laban mentioned, in this region, and it will be a model for future park reforestation efforts. So As we all know, the Fossey Fund has done intensive research about the gorilla natural habitats. However, the intent of this landscape of the campus focus on the biodiversity found in the Virunga National Park. So as we all know, the Virunga National Park is among the few untouched forests remaining in the region, and it really plays a vital role for our planet. So with this campus, we intend it to become a testing ground for native species adaptation at a lower altitude, also native species reforestation and carbon sequestration methods. So today we have a unique opportunity here to test and deploy the different methods that we can learn from to better our environment and allow our wildlife to thrive. So if I dive into the specific of this landscape, this campus will have more than 110 native species, which give us a total of more than 245,000 plants. That's like 250,000 of plants on the campus. And each one of these plants will be strategically planted on a defined design. So most of these species that we'll have in the campus grow in the Virunga National Park. And with planting them, we hope to give to any visitor coming into the campus the feeling of walking through the park. And at the same time, it will be providing knowledge on the biodiversity, like how it looks in the park, or for example, what grows in the gorilla habitat, or how does the gorilla food look like. So in addition to the biodiversity, we also have an interesting wastewater treatment plant made of a natural system of ponds and aquatic plants. So this system will allow us to purify and clean the wastewater from building, then release it back into the environment. And on top of that, we hope it will enhance the biodiversity of the campus by attracting more birds and more amphibians. So yeah, we are also looking into some reforestation methods of native species. With the collaboration of the Fossey researchers, we developed a reforestation scheme that will expand the project impact on the land that surrounds the campus. So we are testing various reforestation methods, and we hope that it will help the researchers to learn which method will be best applicable for future expansion of the park. And then the fact that we are only using native trees, we believe that it will add on the research data collection and the monitoring for the researchers. So in few words, I could say that we believe that this campus will serve as an educational tool in the country and the region. And for anyone visiting the campus, be it tourists, visitors, the researchers, local community, or students, they will learn from the interpretive trails on the campus and feel more encouraged to preserve the environment and respect or introduce more native species in their own environment. Yeah, thank you, Felix.
Okay, thank you, Jo Christa. So all this work that you have done, in addition to the campus, to the construction of the campus, so I'm talking about, planting the native plants and actually sourcing them. All of this was documented, right? And yes. And I believe this project was unique in that we had a film crew documenting the whole process. This is not something that most construction projects do. So Lucky, Gabriel, can you tell us a little bit about why you think storytelling like this is important for both this project, but also more general? Over to you, Gabriel.
Thank you so much, Felix. Yeah, as you said, I'm Gabriel Nyirijuru, and again, it's a great honor to get to be on this panel with all of you. I'm one of the filmmakers at Mass Media, a film production studio that is part of the larger Mass Design Group Collective. So we were so fortunate to get to document the project with the support of Fossey Fund and the Ellen Fund. Stepping to the question, yeah, I believe that storytelling is important to the project, as it is one way of spreading the news about this campus, not only locally, but also internationally. So through filming almost every week in Chinigi, we have been able to get closer to the champions of gorilla conservation that have been doing this critical work for like many years. Many of these champions like Prosper and Felix, who we have produced gorilla game changer films about, already are easy to connect to conservation efforts. So, but many of those involved in this project that are working on construction, or like Joe Crystal and things like landscape design, are also contributing to conservation, and stories we get to tell helped to expand audiences' understanding of who can be champion of conservation, regardless of your field or background. So we interviewed and shared with the wider community the heroism of these people, and through that we have educated, we have shared history and the future direction of the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund and the campus itself. So really we have learned about how the project enabled workers to have the financial capital to start similar businesses in their communities and improve their livelihoods, similar to the approach that the national park takes. This was a great example of how conservation can benefit the community and have wider ranging impact. So my favorite moment while filming was to see the enthusiasm of workers who were participating in training programs, because on site they had an opportunity to train in different professions, such as steel fixing and carpentry. So this was all an effort of Fossey Fund and the partners' expanded view of conservation. And we feel fortunate we got to work with them to share that expanded view with much wider audiences. So this is the reason why documenting the whole process was important, because we were able to share these stories and hopefully inspire others to think differently about the conservation process. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. We have about 3 minutes left, and I don't see any question in the chat box. So I'm going to ask one last question to you, Prosper. One of the buildings we have at the Ndagijimana campus is what we call the conservation gallery. So, Prosper, I want to ask you, what would you see the new campus contribute to the tourism experience? How do you think it might help?
Well, thank you, Felix. I think the tourism experience is basically coming to enjoy the unique a gorilla experience, especially here at Valcoes National Park. But also it's learning where we have come from, where we are, and as I said, what are the future plans. I think the campus will be such a well positioned to actually, for people who before they go to see gorillas, especially, but also after they come, before they come to see gorillas, like Krista said, it's really going, having that kind of feel of like even increasing their expectations, which is really part of the experience, their curiosity. But also when they come from trekking, and we have seen it, it's more of how can we be part of the engagement that I really said is very, very important. So for me, it's exactly, well positioned before, after, and we are looking at, creating more engagement, more opportunity for partnerships. And, this is a very, very good opportunity. Thank you. For visitors, I mean. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Prosper. So again, we don't have any questions in the chat box, so I'm going to assume that all we talked about or we discussed was clear. So as you can tell, we are very excited at the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund. Just having this infrastructure near the park, it's going to improve and amplify our work. Our mission is going to help us meet all our goals, saving the gorillas, helping the communities, forming new partnerships. So, so I would like to thank you all for being part of this experience. And also, I would like to thank our speakers today, Gabriel, Joe Krista, Laban, Beth, and you, Prosper, for your time today, and also our audience. If there's anyone in the audience who's interested in knowing more about the campus and the work that will be done there, please reach out to us. We are looking forward to forming more partnerships for the advancement of conservation work here in Rwanda. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much, Felix, for the moderation.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Felix.
Much, please.
Thank you.